Unit 8. Skills Test. Listening. You are going to listen to people talking in 10 different situations. 1. You hear a girl talking about losing her handbag.
I was at the shopping centre with 3 friends and we'd had an afternoon out looking for new clothes to buy. I had to catch a train home to where I live, about 10 kilometres away. We were sitting in a cafe waiting for the train when suddenly I realised I couldn't find my handbag with my train ticket inside. My friends told me to stay calm and think hard about where I might have left it. I remembered that I'd tried on a new shirt in the changing room of one shop, so we rushed back as quickly as we could. I was just hoping that some kind person had noticed it there and handed it in to a shop assistant. In fact, it was still lying on the chair. I was very, very lucky indeed.
2. You hear a boy telling a girl about a maths day at their school.
Can you tell me what happened at the maths day, David? I was ill and missed it.
Well, everyone said they learned most from this guy who came in from the university and showed us some experiments about numbers in space and the universe.
That was the afternoon session, wasn't it?
Yes, and before that, we watched a programme on 20 ways you use maths in life without knowing it, which was just okay. I got more out of the group work we did to try and solve some brain teasers using maths.
3. You hear a girl talking about a class survey on sports.
OK, just to speak about the results of our class survey on sports, for the first question, which sport do you prefer to play? The highest percentage, 28%, went to football, with basketball a close second, nearly 25%, a quarter of the class. Interestingly, when asked which sport you preferred to watch, there was a difference between male and female answers, which hadn't been there in the previous question. The same 2 sports were still first and second among the boys, but 31% of girls preferred tennis, followed closely by cycling. This shows a big difference between watching and playing sports among the girls, but none between the boys.
4. You hear 2 students talking about climbing a mountain.
We climbed up Scafell Pike last year on a school trip. It was a really sunny day, and I remember being just so hot and tired I could hardly walk another step.
The path isn't very steep. That wasn't the problem, but it's just such a long way. I actually found coming down was even harder because my legs were so tired by then.
Yes, and although it's not that steep, it's difficult underfoot, as there are lots of little rocks.
Oh yes, I remember that. But the views were fantastic, and I took loads of pictures. My parents couldn't believe we'd actually done it in one day.
Oh, I'm glad I did it, but I won't be doing it again in a hurry.
5. You hear 2 students talking about their class visit to a space museum.
When we went to the Space Museum, I really enjoyed sitting inside the space machine because it made me feel like I was a pilot on an actual space mission.
I really wanted to try that, but I never got the chance. There were always too many people wanting to go in, so I gave up. But the Journey Through Space video, that kind of gave me the same feeling as you had.
It worked really well, didn't it? And I thought Fernando was really lucky. He was chosen to wear one of the real spacesuits worn by an astronaut on a moon mission.
Imagine how many people have tried it on, though. I wouldn't have liked to do that.
6. You hear a boy talking about a presentation he had to give.
My dad and I are in this photography club, and once we were asked to stand up in front of everyone and talk about our photos. Obviously, I was a bit nervous beforehand, as I'd never done anything like that before. But Once we got started, I was actually quite enjoying myself, and it wasn't as tricky as I thought. I did make one rather silly mistake, but Dad made a joke about it, so nobody seemed to mind. But it was rather on my mind for the rest of the presentation, which meant it probably didn't go as well as it might have done.
7. You hear a boy talking about selling his old skateboard.
I was given a brand new skateboard for my birthday, so I decided to sell my old skateboard on an online auction site. I'd had it for a couple of years and not used it very much, so it was still in reasonable condition. I specified that it had originally cost €50 and said that I now wanted €10 for it, not really knowing much about the second-hand market for skateboards. But when people saw the photo of it and the name of the company that made it, they really started bidding, and there was quite a competition to get it. In the end, I got double the price I wanted for it, so that was a good deal.
8. You hear two students talking about a maths website.
I'm really struggling with the maths homework project. Do you understand about fractions?
Well, I do, but only 'cause I got some extra help from this website my mum told me about. It's full of good tips and I often use it. The speaker does example calculations and tells you how to do them at each stage.
I'll give it another try. I didn't get on with it when I tried it for advice on measurements and angles. He went too fast for me and I couldn't stop him and ask him what he meant.
I know what you mean about the speed, but the stuff on fractions is great, believe me.
OK, that's good.
9. You hear a girl and a boy talking about a singing competition.
Are you going to enter the singing competition?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind, but there are going to be 20 or 30 people, so I'd have no chance of winning.
But it's not all about winning. You should give it a try.
Yes, I don't really mean it about winning. It's more that there'd be lots of brilliant singers and I'd get embarrassed.
Well, you've got to start somewhere. Otherwise, you'll never have the confidence to perform on stage. You've got to decide by Friday. Why don't you put your name down now, see how you feel, and then you can always cancel it.
10. You hear a girl and boy discussing security cameras.
Some people are really stupid. They say we shouldn't have security cameras on the streets because that means we don't have any privacy. If the cameras stop a crime from happening, then it must be worth it. If you want to be private, stay at home.
That's a bit silly. Sometimes it is a bit worrying knowing that you're being watched.
Yes, but you know what the cameras are there for. Obviously, they're not there for police to control you in some mysterious way in your life. Plus, if you don't have cameras, you have to spend loads to pay for more police officers walking round.